Welcome. Welcome to my kitchen and welcome to apple season. Now, if you know about me and my channel, the one thing I like to do is I like to focus on recipes from the past. And so this being apple season, I love apple season. I love the different recipes that you can make during this time of year with the fresh apples that you're able to get. I went into my old recipe books and I found a recipe from 1877, and it's apple butter custard pie. And so that's what we're going to be making together today. I've never made this recipe before. We're going to work it together and we're going to see how it comes out. So I'll put up on the screen the recipe that I have, and this is from a cookbook from 1877. And it just says beat together 4 eggs, a teacup of apple butter, 1 of sugar, a level tablespoon of allspice, add 1 quart of sweet milk, and a pinch of salt. Can't get much easier than that. Bake in 3 level pies with an undercrust, and by the way, never omit a pinch of salt in custard and lemon pie. And in fact, many kinds of fruit pies, such as green apple and such forth, are approved by it. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to make this recipe, and based on my experience in the past making pumpkin pies, the ingredient list here is a lot more than what I would make for 1 pie. And so what I did, and also in the recipe it says that they're going to bake it in 3 pies. So what I did, I cut the ingredient list in half. So let's get going. I'm going to get my ingredients together and we're going to make this recipe for apple butter custard pie, and the recipe's from 1877. Let's see how it turns out. Now, because this recipe is from the 1800s, there's a lot of details that are left out. So what I'm going to do is, based on my pumpkin pie making, that's what I'm going to kind of fill in the gaps. Hopefully it'll turn out okay. So the first thing you want to do is you just want to prepare your pie shell, and if you either make it from scratch, not a hard thing to do. You can buy store-bought if you have to, but you just want to prepare that, and as soon as it's ready to go, you just want to stick it in the fridge because you want to keep it cold. You don't want it to get room temperature or anything like that. So as soon as it's ready to go, just stick it in the fridge, keep it cool. And then the next thing you want to do is you want to preheat your oven to 450. So once your oven's preheating to 450, we can go ahead and start putting the ingredients together. So as I said, I'm taking this recipe, I'm going to half it because it was saying it would make 3 pies. I'm thinking, looking at it based on my experience making pumpkin pies, halving it should work. So the first thing you do is you start with adding 2 eggs, and you just want to go ahead and beat them. So after you beat those 2 eggs, you add a 1/2 cup of apple butter. And you're going to add half a cup of sugar. Now, the recipe just calls for a cup of sugar. Like I said, we're halving this, and back in the 1800s there was kind of I don't know if I say a debate between using brown sugar and white sugar. I'm using brown sugar. I like brown sugar a lot more in my recipes compared to white sugar, so I'm going to use brown sugar. You can use whichever you want, but I prefer brown sugar. So I'm going to just add that in, and then just mix that together. So you just want to mix it, beat it up until you get any lumps out from the brown sugar. And again, if you want to use white sugar, go ahead. I'm sure the taste will be different. If you want to find something interesting to read the debate back in the 1800s between using white sugar and brown sugar. And I'm not going to say the name of the company, but there was a major company of made sugar, and there was a lot that went on trying to convince people to use white sugar instead of brown sugar. So that's mixed together pretty good with the brown sugar, the apple butter, and the 2 eggs. So the next thing you want to do is 1/2 tablespoon of allspice. Again, I'm halving the recipe here, so I'm just going to pour that in and mix that up. And then the recipe calls for 4 cups of milk, and again, we're halving it, so I'm just gonna kind of stir in kind of more gently 2 cups of milk. Now the recipe calls also for a pinch of salt, saying how important that is, so let's go ahead and we'll just put it a pinch of salt. So that's it. That's how easy it is. So we're gonna get my pie shell out and we're gonna put the filling in and see how this apple butter custard pie works out. So we're going to put this in the oven now for about 10-12 minutes at 450 degrees, and then we'll check it. So we're about 12 minutes in at 450 degrees, and I just checked the pie. It looks good. The crust is starting to brown. One of the greatest inventions, I think anyway, to the kitchen is this pie crust shield. And a lot of people at this point, when they turn the temperature down to 350, they'll put aluminum foil on it. I love this thing. I just throw it on top, keeps my crust from browning anymore. So 10 to 15 minutes, check your crust. As soon as it starts getting a little bit brown to where you want it, either put aluminum foil on it, or if you have one of these pie crust cover shield, and turn the temperature down to 350. So that's what we're going to do now, and we'll cook it for about 45 minutes or so at 350, and we'll test it to see if it's done. So with these older recipes that don't list a temperature or a time, you just kind of go with your gut feeling based on your past experience. And looking at what was coming out of the oven, I added another 15 minutes to it. It seemed like it took a little bit longer for that apple butter to cook. So let's pull it out now and we'll see what it looks like. And let me pull the pie crust shield off. So anytime you make a custard pie with eggs, the eggs cause the pie to rise, and then as it cools, it'll start to settle down. So that's what we got right now. I'm gonna let this cool. It looks pretty good to me. You don't know what it's gonna taste like yet, but this is a recipe, as I said, from 1877. For apple butter custard pie, and so we're going to let it cool off. So as we let this cool, we're going to make some whipped cream to put on top. Now some people love whipped cream, some people don't. Probably the biggest mistake you can do is when you make a pumpkin pie, or if you make, like we just made, an apple butter custard pie from 1877, worst thing you can do is go out there and buy a can or a container of artificial whipped topping, because it's just chemicals. So what I do is anytime I make any kind of custard pie, be it pumpkin pie or like we made an apple butter pie here, I make my own whipped topping, and it's super easy to do. So I'm going to make that now. I'm going to put a link down in the description how to make it. It only takes a couple minutes to make. So we're going to make that now, and then as this cools off, we're going to have that ready to go to put on top. So I let it cool down, and let's just try a bite here. Maybe 2 bites. Apple butter custard. And again, this recipe is from what, 1877? Tastes great. So I'll definitely be making this again. So if you like this video, please go ahead and like it. And if you want to see more videos or recipes from yesterday, like this one with the apple butter recipe from 1877, please subscribe to the channel, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye-bye.